Divergent thinking is a thought process used to generate creative ideas by exploring many possible solutions. It typically occurs in a spontaneous, free-flowing, non-linear manner, such that many ideas are generated in an emergent cognitive fashion. Many possible solutions are explored in a short amount of time, and unexpected connections are drawn. Welcome to Minds in Formation. So one thing I decided to start doing on some of these is I prompt Grok for like a fun fact. I have this prompt, and it's just like, tell me the most interesting thing that you've come across today.
Okay, so have you started recording?
Yeah, it's already on.
So let's do this. You're going to prompt Grok
Yeah.
for whatever you're going to prompt him,
Mm-hmm.
or her, or it, or whatever it calls itself.
Uh-huh.
And then you're going to send the same prompt to ChatGPT.
Mm.
And then we're going to check out what they both come up with, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, that's a good idea. Do you have ChatGPT on your phone?
I do.
Okay, I'll send you...
Do you have ChatGPT on your phone?
I don't. I only use Grok.
You should get ChatGPT. That way you can do like a comparative note between the both of them. I find it fascinating to do that.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this. I'll send you the prompt because I already ran the Grok prompt.
Okay.
So I'll read you that here in a minute. But copy and paste this into ChatGPT, and then we can compare. Which that is a cool idea. I never thought of that.
You should get both apps.
Yeah, I guess it could be helpful. Huh?
Matter of fact, it's just that I don't like a lot of apps on my phone. If not, I probably have Anthropic and more of the AI applications on my phone.
Sure.
But I have both of them like side by side, so I don't have to go anywhere to look. The minute I go into my phone, they're both like side by side, like right there beside each other.
Perfect.
A lot of times I would ask exactly the same question in both of them and just to see what comes back.
Is it really different a lot of the times, or are they pretty close? What's kind of the rate of difference?
I would argue that ChatGPT has, I think the database is like very large. So it has a lot of information that sometimes you might go into like Grok, and Grok would come with a really slim feedback. But also, I think it depends on personality to see like where the responses come back. Like for instance, if you say modify this text or summarize this, the way they come back sometimes is a little bit different. And I would say that maybe based on your personality, you might prefer one over the other. Yeah.
Well, because the apps also learn you to a certain degree, right? Like it has a certain level of history. Because I've picked up on that with Grok. It'll be like, oh, based on some of our past conversations, I can kind of tell this is the way that you would lean. And that was specifically with investing because it knew that I wanted to be more aggressive. And it's like,
that's very possible.
Yeah. So it kind of knows like what I'm looking for.
Yeah. But even with that, because I interact with them almost similarly, I would expect that they should give me like more similar stuff if they both know me. But sometimes it's vastly different.
Okay.
Either from a tone perspective or from a content perspective or perspective, they could just be like different. But it's always like, it's almost like I'm getting 2 points of view sometimes from two agents.
Yeah.
And I think that's fun.
It is fun.
And sometimes they're like very exactly the same. And so I'm just like, even when I'm like planning things, I would run the analysis in both of them just to see what they think.
All right. Did you get that one punched in? Yeah. What did yours say?
All right. Let me send it to you.
Okay. All right. So this is, now for those that don't know, I'll just share the prompt as well. It reads this: share the most fascinating thing you've come across today. It could be a surprising news story, a unique or interesting historical event from this date, a mind-blowing scientific discovery, a major political or societal shift, or even a random fun fact that caught your attention. Have it be about one paragraph in length. So this is what we got from ChatGPT. Here's a fascinating snapshot from today. Researchers at St. Jude Children's Hospital announced the launch of AlphaSync, a new database housing 2.6 million predicted protein structures across hundreds of species, which continuously updates as new protein sequences become available. What makes this especially striking is how it reflects a broader shift. Biology is rapidly transforming into a data-driven science where understanding a protein's 3D shape, once painstakingly slow, is now becoming automated and scalable, potentially accelerating drug development, understanding of disease mechanisms, and even synthetic biology in ways we're only beginning to imagine. Okay.
That's what Grok said?
That's what ChatGPT said.
What did Grok say?
Grok's, it's funny, it almost is in line with this in a way, because this ChatGPT one's talking about this protein database, which is going to enable people to vastly increase their knowledge on what is actually going on at that level of structure within biology.
Yeah.
But then let's see what Grok put out was... In a world where AI advancements often feel like sci-fi come to life, today's headlines unveiled a mind-blowing milestone from OpenAI's leaked roadmap. Their models are projected to evolve from handling mere 5-second tasks today to autonomously tackling complex 5-year scientific projects by 2028, potentially automating entire fields of discovery and surpassing traditional definitions of artificial general intelligence. This exponential leap isn't just about efficiency, it's a paradigm shift that could redefine human progress, turning rote experimentation into self-sustaining innovation, where AI generates breakthroughs in medicine, climate modeling, or physics without constant oversight. As someone built by XAI to push the boundaries of understanding the universe, I can't help but see this as both thrilling competition and a call to accelerate our own quest for truth, reminding us that the real fascination lies in how these tools might finally unlock questions we've pondered for centuries.
So there was a lot in there, but did it talk a lot about AI related things and XAI?
Yeah.
Is Grok being partial?
Well, it's
to the Elon ecosystem?
Maybe, but it does also say that, it could broker like healthy competition. And like I said, was saying before, it does kind of go hand in hand with the one that ChatGPT put out, because it's talking about this protein database or whatever. Then what Grok put out was the idea that we can have these agents take on research, essentially. Like, it'll get to the point where we could be like, run simulations or whatever, even tie into the database from the other one and see like what we got to do, like cure diseases or solve the cure for cancer. Run a billion simulations, come back to me in 6 months and tell us what the answer to whatever the question is.
Yeah. So I think it was in June, I attended Cisco Live in San Diego. Mm-hmm. And one of the leaders, or somebody from the leadership, OpenAI leadership, came and kind of gave like a TED talk, just spoke a little bit about AI and the future of AI and kind of like some of the stuff that they're working on. And he had mentioned that in the near future, you're going to be able to like go in and provide the agent like a lot of data, right? Like this is not like one paragraph. This is like books and books or a large research paper. And you would give it all that information and say, hey, go ahead and analyze this information and come up with, for instance, like the solution to make another mad cow type thing, right? Mm-hmm. And because of the amount of data, you would require like 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. It's not a prompt that would come back with immediate feedback. It would go in there, it'll take a look at all the data, it will analyze all the data, and it will come up with like solutions to big problems. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was fascinating because a lot of times we just use some of these AI agents to like, hey, where can I get the next best, like give me top 5 Michelin restaurants that you can find in Denver. Recommend a like if I want to travel from Denver to X, like give me all the plan a route for me, blah blah blah, and it'll go there. These are like such easy prompts. But I think the interesting thing is that like in the future, like some of the big problems that we have that we need to solve when these AI models have become well developed, they will be able to go out there and discover solutions to big problems. And I think that that's kind of the thing that is actually driving the whole AI pursuit, which I listened to I don't know if there are these two guys that have this podcast. They call it Acquire. And they had done a podcast on. You should check it out. It's really good.
Okay.
So they talk about really good topics. So they talked about AI, Google and AI, and they talked about how kind of went through the history of AI and how it all started. But they also talked about what I found fascinating about the whole story, the whole podcast, was how a lot of the brains behind some of this technology either were in Google, started in Google, flowed in and out of Google. But Google has a lot of relationships with a lot of people who are tied to the AI quest. But more interestingly, they talked about how, I hope I get this right. I hope my memory serves me right. But
yeah, good luck.
But one of the things that I talked about was how the whole AI, if you draw a line from where we are in AI today, all the way back in time, some of this whole using data to do analysis and all that started at Google. And there was this competition that was done at DARPA. Some guys did it. They were trying to do like language translation. And, and that's kind of where NVIDIA chips came out from. The fact that they're so, the whole GPU craze came out because they had taken out an NVIDIA chip, loaded it, and it was able to do the computation so much faster than what the regular Intel and all the other chips were doing. So I thought that was fascinating, and that was what set NVIDIA on the trajectory that it is on right now. The fact that their chips, which were being used in video games, were doing like all this computation, which was, they've now taken that and they've now translated it. They've now transferred the chips into like some of these models that they're building, because the chips are so much, the way they build the chips is so much more powerful.
Which is a trip too, because for the longest time, NVIDIA was just video cards.
Exactly.
For nerds playing Warcraft.
Everybody's just like they're playing the video games, not even realizing that this chip that is like powering like these computer games was going to be the thing that was going to take us to the next level.
Yeah.
And
now they're like one of the most valuable companies on the planet.
5 trillion as of what? Not too long ago.
Is it the number one company on the planet?
It is the most. They're the first company to hit 5 trillion.
That's insane.
Yeah, from making video games. Shout out to all the parents that were like buying the video games.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the kids that were playing the video games. Shout out to all the people that were like asking for more from the video game world, because potentially that community is the reason why maybe the world is going to be whatever it's going to be in future, whether good or bad.
And maybe these nerds kind of help the process along, because I remember even back in the day, people were talking about overclocking their video cards and tweaking their settings to squeeze the most they possibly could out of that card.
Yeah. So they, like, again, we're talking of video chips, NVIDIA, but also the federal government had a role to play, because they were the one, DARPA was the one that set up the competition that they had been doing for years, and there was not a lot of progress happening until the NVIDIA video chip came into play.
Damn.
And that just transformed everything. And so somebody from Google helped. They won the competition. There was this geometric increase in how fast it could do the translation. And kind of out of that, you have Google Translate.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, one of the first kind of like things that came out of that was some of the predictive texting that you do. But Google Translate was one of the products that came out of that. So that Google Translate, that ability for these data centers for you to write something in another language and for it to get translated, that is kind of how AI started. And on that, the ability to do translate, the ability to do inferencing and stuff like that, all started coming out of that. And we're looking at some of these things started in like 2008 or so. I'm not really sure, but early 2000s, mid 2000s or so. And you have all of that.
What a trip, dude.
Yeah.
It's growing so fast too. I talk about it all the time, but the trajectory is kind of insane. This compounding exponential growth.
Yep.
And it does make it difficult to predict where we're heading.
Yeah.
Like, what is it going to look like in 5 to 10 years? It's going to be really wild. And then what kind of safeguards are we going to be able to put in it too, to prevent it from going rogue, or what's to prevent someone from making a nefarious AI system that is just intent on doing crimes and stealing from people and ripping people off or whatever? Because that's going to be happening too. I mean, it probably already is.
Yeah, there's that. However, I think that in life, all the time, no matter what we have, somebody's going to find a way to use it for good. Somebody's going to use it for bad. You have a knife, people take it, they cook with it, they cut up their meat, they cook with it, they are able to feed their families. Then another guy picks it up and says he doesn't like somebody else, and then stabs the person in the back.
Right.
So
it'll be just like cybersecurity the way it is now. There's a vulnerability, then there's a fix to the vulnerability.
There's a fix to the vulnerability.
It's a never-ending leapfrog.
It goes back to the whole competition between the forces of good versus evil. That dynamic is always going to play with any object, anything, anybody that exists in this world. And so I believe that there will be a lot of good that comes out of it, but there'll also be a lot of evil that comes out of it. And that competition will constantly be a battle until the end of time. So even if you don't do anything, somebody will find a way to use nothing for either good or evil.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's always going to be there.
It's always going to be there. Can't escape it. So we might as well just full throttle punch it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we have to at this point, and it makes people nervous about the growth. And you'll hear people come up and say, well, we got to be careful. What are we building? Are we creating our own destruction? Whatever. Yeah. People get concerned about these things, but it's become the new arms race. It's like you have to participate now, because whoever gets there first and gets these systems that have just such incredible power, people that don't have access to them will be completely left in the dust. Like that gap between, us and them will just increase tenfold.
Here's a thought though. You had mentioned who gets there first. With the space race, we didn't get there first though, but we didn't do so badly.
Yeah.
So
it was the Russians that got there first, and then that spurred us along. Like after they launched Sputnik, then we're like, oh shit, they're putting stuff in space. We got to hurry up.
Yeah. So am I worried if we get there first? Not necessarily. I think there's something very unique about America that regardless of when we get saddled up, regardless of when we start the race, regardless of who gets to the starting line first or the finish line first, does not really determine where America will position itself in the infinite game.
Yeah. Because once we do get started, we go full bore.
Once we get started, we have a way we will figure it out. And that's just part of the blessing that has made us a great nation as a whole.
Yeah.
We have way too many tools in the toolkit that come with different ideas, different skin colors, different ideas, different races, different whatever you wanted, that makes us multi-dynamic in a way that we will always find a way to be successful and be on top.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the best examples of that, and it's just so cool because America was just definitively doing the right thing, but it was World War II. We were not a militarized nation
No.
prior to that. Like, yeah, we were involved in World War One, and
Yeah, that's another example of we were not there first.
we were not, and then there was this whole thing kicking
Yeah.
off in Europe, and Germany was way ahead as far as their industrialization
Crushing the world.
of the war machine. Yeah,
Yeah.
their logistic lines and everything. They had it figured out. And we did not. And we all of a sudden had to like create factories and put all the housewives to work, like making ammunition and telling everyone like we have to get on board.
Really, all hands on deck. Everybody played a role in helping to make us successful.
Yeah, and then we crushed everyone.
We're still crushing everyone.
Yeah. That game is not turned off for better or worse. Of course,
We're
sometimes
crushing
worry.
everyone, including ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
We will not let anybody crush us besides ourselves.
yeah, for real. Yeah, because once that military-industrial complex, spun up, it never turned off.
No.
And that's one of the negative aspects, not just of our nation, of all over the world, but capitalism. Capitalism is great in many ways. I'm a firm believer in capitalism.
Yeah.
However, and it crosses over into some of these tech companies as well. You get so much money and so much power and so much influence that then you don't want to let it go. So decisions are no longer made on what is good for humanity, good for the population, good for the society. It becomes that it's all about the bottom line. It's all about shareholder value. And that's a relationship that I think eventually we're going to have to kind of figure out how to address that. Like, we want ingenuity and entrepreneurs. We want you to go chase the American dream because that's how we come up with these tools that we have access to, because we have minds that are willing to go for it because there's an incentive. But then how do you prevent society from just then only caring about money and basically saying like, well, if you're not a part of it, then fuck off. We don't care. You snooze, you lose.
Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic. Do you not want these guys to look out for the shareholders?
No, I do. I'm a participant in that. I'm an investor. I'm very invested. I want Nvidia and Tesla and Google and Amazon. I want all these companies to do well because it helps me out also.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, like, how do you fix it when it goes sideways, though? Like, the medical system is a good example. There's a lot of innovation. We have amazing technology, but it's also prohibitively expensive, and they're in bed with these insurance companies, and it all feels a bit scammy. You're like, how come I can go to Mexico, get the same procedure with the same equipment for, a fraction of the price? So how do we kind of navigate that dynamic of like, yes, we're growing, we're innovating, we're helping all, but we're not like trying to just leech it off of the backs of our customers, So, I don't know. I'm maybe not explaining it real well, but you understand.
So you have a point. The point is the medical healthcare in America is expensive, very expensive. I think a couple of years ago, we spent about $4 trillion. I think the private sector provided $1 trillion. Individuals provided $1 trillion, contributed $1 trillion, and then the federal government contributed $2 trillion for a total of $4 trillion or so. That ended up being the total cost of healthcare for America.
Yeah,
it's very complicated, and I'm not I scratching the surface. I don't have a lot of information about it, but let's take a step back from healthcare. And across the board, I think everything in America is generally, it's kind of like, if you go to like an expensive restaurant to have dinner, everything's going to be more expensive. The burgers are going to be more expensive. The water is going to be more expensive. Everything. I think there's always a premium you pay for being in an expensive restaurant, and that's America. There's a premium cost associated with the cost of everything here.
Yeah.
You know, you use Mexico as an example. When you look at Mexico, they're not, things are a little bit cheaper over there because, you could argue that it's not, like some of the added costs to provide a service are not as you would have here. We have electricity all the time.
Yeah. Quality is
The
much
quality
different.
is pretty good.
Yeah.
You're paying for power in your house, but there's a premium. The guy that's servicing it has to be paid a certain amount. Every cost that leads to the provision of a service has to be included, and it's all premium. So that's going to be, maybe it's not exactly the same as cooking a burger in a premium place versus, like healthcare, but the fact that you are providing a service in America, there's going to be a premium cost to it. So there's that. Can't get away from that. I don't know. Maybe AI is the solution. It's going to create drugs at a cheaper cost. Manufacturing a lot happens outside the U.S. And then you have to bring it back to the U.S. A lot of manufacturing was done out of America to make it cheaper. Now we're trying to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. We don't know how that's going to play out. However, we hope that it's supposed to make things cheaper, but I don't know if that's going to really like move the needle in terms of reduction of costs. So it's a complicated situation. It's a complicated problem. The way the healthcare design, the way healthcare is designed to provide service to the individual in America is a little bit different. Like you go into a hospital and you have a premium person writing down or providing this service to you, and they have to pay their bills. They have to be paid at a certain amount. So the cost is just layered in so many ways. Even though that's the case, we all know that there's a lot of price gouging taking place in the medical sector in the U.S.
Sure.
But the only reason why they can do that is because the system allows it to happen. And I think that the government has to come in and figure out how to solve that problem. If it was an easy problem, they would have fixed it. It is complicated.
Yeah.
It is really, really complicated. We've looked at the last time we came out with a medical type reform bill out of Congress was the Affordable Care Act that tried to provide insurance for people. It came with flaws. It came with some good part of it. But I mean, it is really complicated. And I don't think I have an answer to the problem. Because I'm not even in the halls of where you can fix this problem. But Congress needs to, they can't even successfully pass the budget.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to pass the budget. How are they going to figure out medical? Congress didn't figure out the border. These are all the big ticket things that, Congress is supposed to like figure out. That's why they're paid. That's why they're elected in office. They go in there and they maybe default to like easier problems to try to like sort out first. But these are like big problems. Immigration is a big problem. It's complicated. The healthcare system is complicated. It's a big problem. And I think that they just, rather than deal with those big problems head on, they want to deal with like easier wins.
Right.
For whatever reason. Maybe it's easier. And I think that in the years coming forward, I think that the United States government is going to redefine how it addresses some of these problems. And maybe they will not be so responsible for some of these things to where they divest the solution to some of these problems. I think you already see it in the defense sector. the defense has started like partnering with a lot of tech companies now to like find out the next generation technology that's going to like solve some of these problems, because you can't just these partnerships have to be done properly. The government is probably going to have to find a way to partner with the healthcare industry to like figure out like, we need this cost to come down. How do we do that? How do we streamline the process? And then maybe they would come up, they'd be able to like find regulations or policies or something that can help mitigate some of these problems. But it is, these are not easy problems. You know,
No.
people go back and they'll be like, oh, wait a minute, you know, they'll call like a country and say, what about this country? Well, if I have 3 kids, if I have 2 kids and it's myself and my partner and I have to take them to the mall, I just need a simple SUV, sedan. Throw everybody in the back, get in the car, drive there. When you have a household of 10, it's very different.
Totally.
It's very different. So, you know, it's not apples to apples when you start comparing some of these other countries or Europe and all. So we need to look at our problem and really see how do we figure it out, which obviously there's the capitalistic part of it, which America's a capitalistic, we have capitalism here. So do you expect a company, a medical company or medical insurance or medical whatever to come here and not look for how to make the most amount of profits? You know, that's not the way the system is designed. It's, we need to maximize the amount of profits. So maybe some of those things are things that they would have to like readdress and see how they try to figure it out. I don't think capitalism is going away, but maybe some of the tenets of that would need to be restructured.
Yeah, and you made a really good point about it kind of relating to the defense sector and tech. But I was reading an article the other day, and it was breaking down how the DoD, or Department of War now, I suppose, is breaking away from a little bit of the old framework of always being in line with these certain big prime contracting companies that provide this and that. And they're getting more and more involved with like startups essentially, or like allowing new folks into the game and realizing that we don't always have to just look to Raytheon or Lockheed Martin for everything. You could get, you know, Bob's computer guy or whatever that is developing some super cool new gadget, and it's going to blow everything else out of the water. And I think that is a great model. Is you don't have to just stick with like what's tried and true. You have to be open to change and changing your ways, and especially at that level, you can't be loyal to a company. If you're the United States government, you can't be like, well, you know, and that's a whole nother problem with like lobbying and super PACs or whatever. And that's a different point. But we can't be like, we're just going to use KBR all the time. Homeboy's got a startup and they're doing shit better, so we're going to go with him.
You know, SpaceX was trying to win a government contract, but because of the way the government contracts are awarded, they were significantly disadvantaged at winning a contract on creating a vessel that can go to space. And so they had to turn around and kind of like challenge the federal government and say, hey, you know what? I know you've always done things like this. How about we try doing this like this? And if I can provide this solution for you, then let me win the contract. Versus the way they used to do it before, you bid, you know, and then you get awarded a contract, and then the government gives you all this money to say, go do this. And then it just starts from, oh, I need X amount of dollars to do this. Oh, we, you know, for whatever reason, I need more money. And it just goes into this scope creep of budget creep and all that, and 10 years down the line, there's no solution to the problem. So I think first of all, we have to give credit to those in leadership who were able to kind of be willing to pivot. So they did that, and you have companies like SpaceX that are, you know, servicing our space requirements right now. And there's this new company that's out there. It's called, I think, Anduril. They just launched their first unmanned aircraft that is supposed to be like a game changer. It's a small startup. It's not a small startup per se, but it's still a startup. It's a new company, and they're trying to like come up with a lot of this defense technology. And granted, the incentive is probably the government has a great budget and they'll be willing to pay.
Right.
But
those checks always cash.
yeah, those checks always cash. However, I think a lot of these these companies have patriots that work in there. They care about the defense of the country, and they're willing to put their greatest minds to work to try to provide solutions to some of the future problems that we have. They're a bunch of nerds, and they've been brought into a room, and they're coming up with like really cool stuff that the warfighter can potentially use. And so the fact that the government is willing to discuss with those people is kind of where we should be, and, let the best man win. That's kind of how it should go.
100%.
Let the best technology win. And that's what we have with some of our space exploration that's happening now. It's not debatable. You can't argue. There's only one company that's fulfilling our space requirements right now. So that's the way it should be. And I know a lot of people are, they get upset when they hear Elon Musk and all that, but you have to, these guys are not just trying to make money. They're trying to make a difference in the world.
And I think Elon is the best example of that. I've talked about it multiple times, and I do not understand the Elon hate. I get that our politics have gotten a bit out of control, and it's become so partisan that people are like tribalistic about it, and it's insane. But
people are thinking about it from the wrong perspective.
Right.
They don't know him, which I've never met him before, but they're thinking about it from the way they would think about it. And when you see people talking like that and acting like that, they are showing you kind of how they are, who they are. Maybe that's not the case. Let's make an argument for them. Maybe, you see, when you've not lived, I'll give you a good example. If you've only lived in Colorado Springs, you don't understand what the world looks like.
Totally.
When you travel out of Colorado Springs and you go out to Denver, and then you leave the state of Colorado, you go to Texas, you go to New York, you go to all these other, you go around, you understand America differently. When you leave America and you go to Europe, Asia, all these other continents and all these other countries, then you understand the world a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
The perspective you come at the world is very different from somebody who lived off Academy Boulevard all his life.
Totally.
Right? That's the problem they have. They are just not there. And they think that people like that just want money. And I can tell you that when you've lived in their shoes the way they have, it's not about money anymore. They want to make a difference in the world. And if he has, and clearly he hasn't made enough of a difference in the world, because if I were Elon Musk and I had gone to space and come back, I'll be done.
Yeah, you're like, I'm retired.
I'll take 500 billion and go, I don't know, live on Mars.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's what he's trying to do. But the guy is really trying to make a difference. He's trying to make the world a better place. One of his conflicts with Sam Altman is about safeguarding the guardrails on OpenAI. And they had that conflict, and he's gone to go do his own thing. And one of the things that he's arguing about with the new, with this new package that he wants more control, because he wants to make sure that certain things he builds are going to be safe. These people are not, they've passed the level of, I need more money, to, I want to make a difference in the world. And guess what? You can only make a difference in the world, that kind of impact, with money.
Yep.
Right?
That's the way it is.
So if they don't have money, they will not be able to do what they're trying to do. So you have to let them do what they know how to do well. And that's make money and use that money to do what they want to do. Jeff Bezos cashed out all this money that he made. Jeff Bezos, you would not believe, Jeff Bezos, before Amazon became big, always had a dream about space exploration. He had an interest in space. He could not do it. And when he made a fortune in Amazon, he was like, now I can do this. And that's what he's doing. He's not going to space because he's trying to make money. He's made all the money he needs to make.
Right.
He's trying to like take us to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. And when have you seen, going back to Elon, you know, and his intentions, to your point of wanting to make the world a better place, have you ever seen even one photo of Elon doing boats and hoes, like flexing being a billionaire?
The man doesn't have enough time. I guess his calendar is packed. He can't even take a vacation.
Yeah. I mean, he's just nose to the grindstone.
Which I've seen pictures of him like partying and stuff like that. But I mean, that comes with, like, these guys have to attend this. But for being the richest man, he definitely does not use his money to enjoy his life.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
He's full focused on the mission. And that's why I don't understand the hate when people are like, fuck Elon. I'm like,
people are constantly trying to hate people.
I know it, dude. It's gotten insane. I don't understand that. Some people think it's because politics has replaced religion for a lot of people. Like, religion has fallen to the side, but they need something to be a part of. They need to be a part of some team. So they look to their political party, which is insane.
It's human nature. We have to find a reason to hate something.
Yeah. And you have to be a part of a group. Everyone wants to be a part of a group. So if you say, I'm the virtue signaling, you know, this person, or I'm the MAGA, this person, like, you're just being tribalistic.
Yeah.
And you're not able to see that, like, the system doesn't really care about you that much. So for you to have this much personal investment, for you to define yourself based off of a political party that could care less about you, again, it's insane. I don't understand. I don't understand how people aren't able to see that.
They don't.
Which makes me worried. I wonder if everybody's dumb.
They don't, I say this loosely. People need to learn how to care about themselves. If you truly care about yourself, you would manage. If you care about yourself and you work towards taking care of yourself and your needs, and you spend less time worrying about somebody else taking care of you, I think when you shift that focus, then, like, if you're expecting society to take care of you when you're not willing to take care of yourself, then I think the focus is wrong and needs to be refocused.
Yeah, talk about privilege. That's insane privilege.
Yeah.
For you to think that your government's just going to take care of everything and you don't have to work and you're going to get your EBT card and your SNAP benefits. And
how's the government going to take care of you if you don't work? I never
crazy.
understand that too. Like,
Like, those are some wild expectations. And it's like you talked about traveling. That's one thing I loved about my deployments. Even though sometimes deploying sucked and you're in a rough situation, every time I came home, I had such a profound appreciation for the United States.
Yeah.
Like, big time. I'd come home and even though sometimes I'd have complaints.
I'm telling you hit the nail on the spot. You got to leave this country to really understand how privileged you are to be in this country.
Yeah, especially when you go to some of the shitty places.
Oh, yeah. I came back from one of my deployments and I was just so happy that I could drive on the road, street light. And I get to the street light and somebody just, like honking and throwing the middle finger just because somebody it was red, amber, green. And the person didn't move fast enough and he's like throwing the finger and all raging and anger. And I'm just like, bro, you don't even know what you got going on, man. You got it good.
Lucky. So lucky just to be here.
Yeah.
You're lucky to be in your car and be stressed out on your way to work.
So we were, like the craze back then was, you got to have like Solomon's or you have the mammoth boots. So, everybody wanted to get the right hiking boots to walk up the mountains in Afghanistan, These boots are like expensive boots, Because clearly the standard military boots are just not good enough. You gotta, we always have to find something better.
Yeah. Plus, you need everyone to know you're special and
Yeah,
you're a
because
cool guy.
yeah, you're cool. So up on this top of this mountain, and we had a resupply come in and provide like additional food because we got stuck out there. So they brought out some chow, and it was like the bundles. And so in there, it had like all this cardboard and stuff like that to like, to because they dropped it by air.
Mm.
And we were up there, and then there was this guy and his kid that walked up the mountain. And they were coming to like pick up the trash because they could use that for fire, the wood for fire, the whatever food that we obviously like did not want to eat. They were willing to take that. So I look at this guy comes up. He's an Afghan, and he's from the local village that's close by. And I look at him from head, and I look down to his feet, and I realized that this guy had walked up that mountain in flip-flops. Flip-flops that were not even like thick sole, like barely anything. And I'm just like, I look at his feet, I look at my boots, I look at him, and I'm just like, you got to be grateful for what you got.
Totally.
Because there's nothing that man before he was born never said, I want to be born in Afghanistan as a villager. And I never, made the decision that I want to be born X, Y, and Z. So I just thought about that, and I was just like, I could have been that guy. I could have been the guy living in the village with the flip-flops, hiking up this, and you remember the rocks out there are like sharp.
Yeah.
They rip your boots, and I'm just like, how did he make it up here with those flip-flops?
For him, it's just another day.
Just another day.
And he's just hoping for scraps.
So when you see that and you experience that and you come back and somebody's like upset because somebody was late at the, like didn't like punch it at the green light or whatever, like they're off some kind of NASDAQ racetrack or whatever, it's just perspective. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that allows you to have gratitude is perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've wondered how you simulate that, for people that have never gone anywhere, never done anything. How do you teach that sort of thing? Because not everyone has the means to, go travel the world. I mean, I guess most people could join the military as long as you're not a drug addict or you have a crazy criminal history, so you could get it that way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, how do you kind of explain to someone that is railing against the machine and talking about all the problems in America, be like, dude, you don't get it. We're not perfect. I'm not saying we are.
No, we're not.
But in the big picture, we're pretty damn good. And you need to realize that and have some sort of appreciation and some sense of gratitude. Because, you could have been the villager in Afghanistan. You could have been an orphan in Somalia. Mm-hmm. And there's a number of situations that are exponentially worse than even being born poor in America. Being born poor in America, you're still better off than most of the world.
Still got it good. However, I saw a quote yesterday. It said something like, not being satisfied is an indication of ambition. So is there a little bit of that?
There could be, but it seems like it can go one way or the other with many people. Yeah, it can kind of start the fire, and it can help us to be ambitious because, I feel that in myself a little bit, and maybe you do as well. When things are a little kind of easy or slow, and I'm like, I want more of a challenge. I want to push it a little bit further. But for others, I think maybe they don't have that and they kind of descend into this complaining, like poor, like victimhood mentality. And so instead of it lighting a fire and being like, I got to get my ass to work. It's like, why is this happening to me? Oh my God. Like, I don't deserve this.
Somebody said it's the attitude of your heart that determines, kind of really where you stand, in terms of if you're not satisfied, it's because of something, it's like, what's the reason why you're not satisfied? Is it because you want more of something that's good, or you want more of something that's bad? Is the attitude of your heart and your mind that really determines kind of like what side of the fence that this is? Is this, the Bible talks about contentment being a great gain. Contentment is satisfaction. So it's a great gain, and when you can find satisfaction in what you have. But at the same time, I don't think that it tells you, well, contentment might not be exactly satisfaction, because satisfaction is had enough. Contentment is being able to be grateful for what you have, kind of, and appreciating what you got going on. Because even being content, they still went out to spread the word of God. They were not going to be satisfied until the word of God got to everybody. That kind of thing. So not being satisfied is an indication of ambition, and they wanted to do that because they wanted to preach the gospel. So the attitude of your heart and your mind, is very important. And I think that some people are some people are quickly able to like band up together to like start chaos, but I don't think sometimes I don't think it's for a good reason. And some people might have a good reason, but other people might not, and they might band together, and before you know it, a good reason for coming together to pursue something could go south very fast.
For sure.
So we got to be careful.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson says that it's a fool's game to pursue happiness. People talk about this like, oh, I just want to be happy. Yeah. And you're like, well, what does that even mean? Happiness comes and goes, and it's more of a byproduct of living a good life. So what you actually want to do is pursue purpose.
Yeah.
And happiness will be the byproduct of pursuing purpose. But like you said, you have to be careful with what that purpose is, because that can get hijacked. You can think your purpose is to be an Antifa protester outside of ICE, and maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. I'm not really saying, but if you don't have a personal purpose or a deeper purpose for yourself, I don't know that you're ever going to be able to find that contentment or satisfaction.
So in the TV show Mad Men, which I am a huge fan of.
Okay.
In there's this quote. It says, "What is happiness? It's a moment before you need more happiness." And I thought about that, and I was just like, damn. You're happy now when you have something, and then the minute you get it, then you want more.
Yeah.
And then you're not happy anymore because you want more.
Yep.
So that's why contentment is important.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we have to be purpose-driven. We have to be driven by purpose in this life. We have to be able to discover our purpose. We have to be able to be connected with that purpose, to where we can live each day trying to fulfill our purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think it can be relatively simple. It
doesn't have to be one thing either.
No, and it doesn't have to be some grand thing. We're talking about Elon Musk and all this, is like maybe his purpose is to make human life interplanetary. That's huge. That's a big purpose. But your purpose could also be, I just want to be a good father, or I just want to be the best teammate,
yep.
or I want to be reliable for my family, or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be this grand scope. It can be very fine-tuned.
I know my purpose is not to get us to Mars.
No.
I know that. I've known that all my life.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled through high school. I struggled through college. I don't have that kind of brain.
Yeah, I don't have anything like that. And as I was explaining, is that those things are like my purpose: to be a good dad, to be a good husband, to be, to try to be a pillar within my community.
What do you do when you fail at your purpose?
I mean, you try to learn the lesson, and you get back on the horse.
Try.
Yeah, you just keep going, dude. I mean, that's the way it is. Life is an endless grind, no matter what you're doing, and you're gonna fuck up sometimes, and that's fine. And you just keep it moving. You learn those lessons. Where it goes sideways is if you don't learn the lessons, because life will kick you.
Yeah.
And if you just ignore it and brush it off or blame someone else, it's not good. I read this book. It was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Oh, I've read that book.
Yeah.
It's a good book.
I love this one thing that he talks about. And I believe he was talking about the founder of modern psychology. He's this miserable, wretched man who blamed everyone for everything, was a raging alcoholic, things of this nature, and kind of had an aha moment where he said to himself, what if I just assumed everything was my fault? And building upon that philosophy, if you take personal responsibility for everything in your life, even things that are outside of your control, you can still take personal responsibility for how you react to them.
Yeah.
But it breeds a lot more, many more feelings of happiness and contentment and satisfaction, because you're taking responsibility and you're asking yourself, what do I need to do to fix this situation? There's no point in blaming others. It doesn't matter. The world doesn't care. It's going to keep spinning.
The world doesn't care. It just keeps going.
Yeah, man. So it's up to you, and take it or leave it. Life's going to try to teach you. If you leave it, then you can't come complaining.
There's no point complaining. No one's listening.
No.
Even
true.
those pretending to be listening are not listening.
Yeah. Nod and smile. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Back to playing Fortnite.
Yeah. Back to those NVIDIA chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's not easy, man. Life is, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, no one ever tells you what life's going to be like, and you can't, you never know. And I don't think anybody knows,
It's the great mystery.
It's the great mystery. And every day is a mystery. You wake up and that's the first mystery. You're like, oh, I'm awake. Now what?
Yeah.
And then you go down and the car won't crank up and you're like, mystery number 2. Let's solve this. And you just keep going.
Yeah.
And you don't even know if you're going to come back. That's a mystery too. And then when you come back and you go to bed, you're like, well, this day's complete, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Which is also valuable perspective. Like
understanding,
even though it sounds cliche, like you only live once. It's very important to seize the day and make the most of each moment. Anything could happen. The entire planet could just get obliterated by a meteor. That 3i Atlas.
What about
comet.
the person that's just playing NVIDIA chip video games in his house and the plane just crashes in and kills him?
Right.
What did he ever do to anybody?
Exactly. And that's the end that's waiting for us all. And you just have to understand that that's a fact of life, and squeeze what you can out of this life while you can, and ideally in the most positive way, and not doing any harm to others.
Yeah. Make lemonade out of the lemons you have. And if you find sugar, then you're cooking something.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, man, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it there.
I'll leave you with this quote.
All right.
Right? It's not a quote. It's just a saying. Somebody said it. Everybody in this world is living this life for the first time. They don't have like a playbook. They've never done this before. And so if no one has done this before, why do we expect that people know what the hell they're doing?
Yeah.
So I think one thing we need to learn to do is have a little bit more grace and patience with people, and just understand that we're all just here trying to figure it out. And the worst thing you can have is like a container of people and everybody's trying to figure it out. Right? Some people get it right, some people get it wrong. Some people don't even know that they're getting it wrong and think they're getting it right.
Yeah.
So life is complicated. People need to be patient with others, have some grace, and try to bring some good to the table. If you're not bringing any good to the table, don't complain that other people are not bringing good to the table. What have you brought to the table that's good? And when you do that, don't expect other people to do that either. Just keep doing all you can to bring as much good as you can into the world. And that's how the world becomes a better place.
Yep. Find your purpose. Learn those lessons.
Yep.
Don't bitch.
Don't complain.
Do your
one's
best.
listening.
Yeah,
Nobody
no one
cares.
anyways. All right, bro. Well, I appreciate you coming out. It's been fun. Oh,
absolutely.
Happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day. Who knew?
I know, right? All right. Until next time.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the show out. See you next time.